Hi, I'm Jacob and I work here as a trainee solicitor in the personal injury department at PD Law Solicitors. In this video we're going to be looking at personal injury claims. We have a future video coming on road traffic accidents, but for this video we're going to be looking at the most common types of personal injury claims. There are various types of accidents which you may be involved in which all fall under the umbrella of personal injury. A most common example is the accident at work. There are also types of accidents on public land involving pavements or highways which are known as public liability claims. There are also types of accidents when you are a visitor on someone else's property or land, and that is called occupiers liability. An employer liability claim arises when an employee claims against their employer for an accident at work which was caused by their employer's failure to keep them safe in the workplace. There are a number of different types of health and safety breach which can give rise to an employer liability claim. This can involve the failure to provide necessary training or personal protective equipment, or even providing unsafe work equipment. A classic example of an employer liability claim is an employer failing to give a worker on a construction site a hard hat who is then hit with an item from a large height causing injury. If you've been affected by one of these breaches causing injury at the workplace, then you may be able to bring an employer liability claim. It is a common concern that we hear from clients that they will face disciplinary action for bringing a claim against their employer. However, you are protected under law from being unfairly dismissed for bringing such a claim. If your employer has breached their duty to keep you safe in the workplace and caused injury, then you have the right to claim compensation for any loss that you've sustained. A public liability claim is brought against a local authority for their failure to keep public areas safe for public users. A common type of public liability accident is tripping over a pothole in the road or even slipping on ungritted ice in the winter. If the defect in the road or the ice is severe enough, then the local authority has a duty to keep it safe for all users. If you've been affected by any of these types of accidents, then you may be able to bring a public liability claim. An occupier's liability claim relates to the duty owed by an occupier of land to keep all reasonable measures in place to ensure the safety of their visitors. A common example of an occupier's liability accident is a shopper attending a supermarket and slipping on a wet floor outside the flower section. If the spillage had been there for a long time or failed to be cleaned up by a staff member, then this would represent a breach of the duty owed by the occupier to their visitors. It is the case that occupiers can discharge their liability by having a regular system of inspection in place, so it's important to note that the more severe the breach, the stronger the claim for occupiers' liability would be. In almost all cases, a personal injury claim will be brought against the insurance company for the employer, occupier or local authority held responsible for the accident. Once the insurance details have been obtained, formal notice of the claim would be submitted to the insurance company to begin their investigations. Under employer liability claims, the insurers have 30 working days to investigate, but for public liability and occupiers liability, it is slightly longer at 40 working days. During this period, you would undergo an examination with an independent medical expert to verify your injury claim. The independent expert would provide a recovery prognosis for your injuries from which your valuation would be calculated. In addition to your injury claim, there are other additional losses that you can claim for at this stage. These include loss of earnings, property damage, mileage, current assistance, among others. Once the liability decision has been known, the claim can be submitted to the insurers to begin settlement negotiations if admitted, or if denied, then court proceedings can be investigated to obtain a favourable settlement. If you've been involved in an accident identified during this video, then please get in touch with PD Law Solicitors to undergo a free consultation for a no-win, no-fee claim.